Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Monkey Wrench. I'm Kelly, the monkey with the wrench. No, we're not doing a review today. We've dug into the archives. A couple of weeks back, I posted a video of me building a butcher block top workbench for a customer. It was the first half, and everybody requested that I would put up the second half so they could see what the final product looked like. Please forgive the filming. This was 5 years ago. I had no clue what I'm doing, not that I do now, but you may hear some choppy audio as I cut out a lot of bollocks and bullshit. So give it a thumbs up. Please watch it all the way through the end, and enjoy your day. Please subscribe. Today is a new video. So in the last video, you saw that we built the frame, the stand. And there's the butcher block. I'm using it with my compound miter saw again. We have to talk about the shelf on the bottom. And what I did, okay, was I took some 2x4s and I ripped them down. Basically made 2x2s, 1.5 by 1.5. Here's one right here. Okay, I ripped them down and made 2x2s. That is more than enough strength for anything he's going to try and put on this bottom shelf. It will hold me, and I'm 230 pounds. It'll hold me and two friends if we could get in there. And basically, I just screwed it on the inside to all the aprons on the bench. There's two ways to go when you're making a shelf. You can either have it recessed or you can have it flush. I tend to ask my customers what they want, and in this case, he wanted it flush. So we made it flush. So I inset it here just enough that my shelf would be flush. And then I take all my shelf boards and I put them in place. Any adjustments that need to be made, you can make them. That goes over there. I cut around all the legs to make sure that everything fit perfectly. Everything's already been dry fit, but you know, we're dry fitting it again for camera.
Just table wobbling.
I don't think so.
No. It's definitely wobbling.
What?
So that you can see just how easy this goes. Sorry, you gotta look at my dump truck again. But there we go. Now I am leaving a tiny bit of space, just a tiny bit, in between each one of these boards. So get yourself some sort of spacer so that you can have the same space between every board. And I will not be gluing these in place. This is what's called a floating shelf. The reason is wood expands and contracts, and this particular kind of shelf can expand and contract as necessary. It's also going to be stained and polished the same as the rest. But that's what the shelf looks like on the bottom. There's, like I said, the space is going to be even, so there'll just be a little crack between each board. You see these are touching over here and these aren't. I was just trying to do it by hand. And the shelf is now completely level right here, okay? It's level. There, he didn't want, some people like it when it's inset about 1 inch, and that keeps toolboxes from being pushed off, or, you know, you throw something in there, and this is on wheels, so when you're moving it around, stuff comes out. But he wanted his to be flush, and he's the boss, so we made it flush. You can see I cut it around the legs on all 4 corners so that it fit all the way to the ends. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to talk about how I'm going to attach that top to this board. Now, like I said, that top, I weighed it yesterday. It was 110 pounds. It's not going anywhere. Now, there's no particular fancy way to attach tops to benches. If you're making countertops, if you're making you know, homemade cabinets, anything like that, when you're talking about this kind of weight and the fact that this is on casters for easy movement, what you're never going to see is the underside of this bench. And I want it to be strong and simple, so I'm going to be using these. Okay, these are just standard L brackets, stainless, they won't rust. And they're basically, when the top's in place, I'm going to go in from underneath, and I'm going to lay my 230 pound behind on that strong shelf. And when the top is in place, I'm going to bring this right up against the top, and I'm going to screw from underneath into the top, and I'm going to screw into this timber. I don't want anything showing on the work surface, except for scratches he may put in it over the years working. These are strong, these are thin, these are profile, and I want him to be able to take this apart if he ever wants to. I wouldn't know why he would want to take it apart, but if that's what he wants to do, this is the way to go. So I'm going to be attaching that top with 6 of these, okay? 1, 2 on the back, 2 on the front, and 1 on each side. And that is going to be more than enough to hold it stable forever. He'll be able. So now I have the lower shelf all screwed in place. Floating shelf, a little bit of space between each board. It has a slight rustic look to it because the butcher block also does, and I wanted everything to match. I went front to back on those to keep them sturdy long term. Going width ways, they could bend or bow just a little bit this way. It'll all stay flat and it's good and strong. It's 3/4 of an inch thick, so anything he puts on there, he's not going to have any issues. It's all going to be stained the same color, and we're good to go, ready to rock on the lower shelf. Next job, put the face plate on the table, put the backsplash, which is actually going to stick up about 3 inches on the table, and work on the casters and give it a good sand and get that tabletop locked down. And if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that I'm a doer, not a sayer, a biter, not a barker, and I don't stand much on ceremony. So in order to cut these sides, I needed a straight edge for my circular saw. Make sure your blade goes as deep as it needs to cut through if possible. This one, because of the thickness of the top, just perfectly does the job. So it's on its lowest blade setting. I've just taken a straight edge. This is straight. Marked it out, the depth of my cutting here, so that I can go ahead and take this end off and make it all nice and straight. So let's do that. And that, my friends, is all it takes. A couple of clamps and a straight edge. If you don't have a track saw track, I never felt the need to buy one for $30. They're nice to have. They're aluminum. They're always straight. They're lightweight. But try putting a 6 or 8 foot piece of aluminum somewhere in your shop when you don't have a large one like I don't, and see how long that works out for you. Get them if you can. Harbor Freight has them cheap. I don't know that I would trust Harbor Freight to be the straightest, but then again, I use straight edges I have laying around. A lot of times I will use a bed frame. I use bed frames for everything. People think I'm crazy, and right now it's standing up over there. But I have bed frames in various lengths. 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot. Here's one. A bed frame, unless it's been mangled, is always straight. And you can double check it against like a 4 foot level to make sure it hasn't been bent or anything. But these are great. They're so thick, they're hard to bend. They're always straight. They're easy to lay around. So there we go. I already cut the first side before I filmed. You didn't need to watch that. But this is what I wanted to show you. It's a little dusty at the moment, obviously from cutting. But I went ahead and stained it last night. Don't mind the dust or the mess. I still have to put the faceplate on and the back splash, which is going to be about 3 inches taller than the board. And that's why I wanted to go ahead and cut the sides nice and straight and get this ready. But I don't want it shaking and shimmying.
Bingo!
The top is going to be stained the same color as the base. And then it's all going to have that wet, shiny look because it's going to be polyurethane. But there you go. The final height will be 38 inches. Okay, it's been a full, I don't know, 24, 30 hours since the last video clip I made. And since I did, I actually connected the top, the workbench surface, to the bench with those L brackets I told you about. And it's time to do all the finishing touches on here. So I removed the top from the bench, and as you can see, I put a tarp down. It goes completely around the bench, and that is because we're gluing again. What I did, the customer actually asked me as well when he saw pictures in the video. If you remember from a minute ago in the video, this front board was 2 different colors, and there was a line in it because that's how you make butcher block, with separate pieces. And I was talking about needing a backsplash and a front face board. So I went to the store and I purchased 1 by 3 by 6 feet long poplar. And I also got 1 by 6 inches wide, 5.5 inches wide by 6 feet long poplar. Sanded it down. And you can see I cut angles on the backsplash to give it a nice little softer look. And then I sanded the edges round, all the way around the whole thing. And I went ahead and glued that on. Now that's what these clamps are here for. Don't forget to use little pieces of wood if you're worried about your clamps marring any of the wood you're putting up. But now we have one full piece from left to right of brand new wood, poplar, hardwood. So that's where you tend to lean against it and your belt scratches the wood. And, you know, as you're lifting things up to put them on top of the bench, you tend to scratch that front edge. So use a hardwood whenever possible. On the side, you're not going to be able to see the difference. It's perfect. And I just glued it with a lot of glue on both of those boards. I used a 2x4 to raise it up off the stand so that I could slide the clamps underneath of it, because that's way tall. You're not going to try and clamp it from the top. You'll never get it square. So I used a couple of boards and a couple of spacers to make sure that I could get the clamps underneath, that I could make the face board perfectly level and square. And of course, after it dries, I'll take a sander to it. And the same on the back. It is one full piece. Sorry about the lighting in here, but it is one full piece. So I don't think I need to show you installing caster wheels. The top is off, so I can lift that off and set it aside, flip the bench upside down, screw the caster wheels to the 4 legs, and flip the whole thing back up, put the top down. That's not difficult, and I don't need to show you the polyurethane process. You've seen that on 1,000 videos. You've seen it on my videos. So the next time you see this will be a finished walk around of this bench. And be sure to leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think I did wrong, what you think I did right. Maybe if this video helped you, something I might have taught you in this video. And I've got another customer coming tomorrow that's going to be ordering another bench just like this. Bigger and with drawers. And I've got a customer already who has ordered a dog bed. So that's my next build. That's what this wood is over here. While I'm waiting for things to dry, I tend to work on other projects. So I've made the 4 corners and started cutting lumber down and that kind of thing. Real quick, I just want to touch on the wheels. We've got 4-inch casters rated for 120 pounds each. That is 500 pounds or 480 pounds that they're rated for. And they lock. All 4 of the casters have locks. The reason that's important is because when you're trying to work on your workbench, if it's on casters, you're going to want to be able to lock it down. It's still going to move slightly, You get used to that. All my benches move. It's not an issue. But being able to lock all 4 wheels is going to make the movement very small as far as when you're working on it. And it's going to make it very easy to roll this thing around. No problem at all. So all that's left now, I've got another coat of polyurethane happening on the top. You can see that I put the L brackets in place and they are flush with the top of the frame. There are 6 of them, 1 on each side, 2 across the front and 2 across the back. And when that top sets in place and gets its 2-inch overhang on all sides measured, we just run some screws up into it. It's 2.5 plus inches thick. So as long as your screw is less than 2.5 inches, you will not go through the top, and that's the point. Secure it from underneath, makes it look better, keeps it secure, and you're good to go. So here's the finished product. Okay, it's been a week since I started finishing this video, or started filming it, so bear with me if I say the same things over and over. I'll keep this short. This is the final video on this build. And it is finito, ready to be picked up by its new owner. The top of the bench has 4 coats of polyurethane, and the frame itself and the shelving all, that has 3 coats. Doesn't get as much wear and tear as the very top of the bench. I've already had customers over here. I already have my next bench build deposit. The new customer saw this one and fell in love with it, but wants it twice the size. So we've got to build a big slab, almost 4 foot by 8 foot. The total dimensions on this bench are 25 inches deep by 48 inches wide is the workbench top surface. If you've watched this video, you already know the dimensions of the frame itself. And the total from floor to top of bench, not the little backsplash, but the actual top work surface, is 37 3/4 inches. The 3-inch casters, I'm sorry, that we put on here, are a new style, and they are 1/4 inch shorter than the old style. So if they were correct and not changed by the manufacturer, we would be at perfectly 38 inches tall, which is what the customer asked for. 25 inches deep, 48 inches wide, 38 inches tall. I think I have just about covered everything during the build of this, and I don't edit mine down because this is more for the customer and for future customers than it is for you guys at home. If you have any specific questions, you can feel free to let me know. But these videos are made for the customer who purchases this, so they can see how it was made, show it to their family, show off to their friends, whatever the case may be. And for potential new customers, this is my portfolio, so they see the kinds of things that I build and decide whether they want to add one to their workshop as well. I'm glad that I was able to get 4 feet out of this wood and still get a very even design on where all the wood came together, right up dead center, and I made sure it was dead center. So I hope this video helped any of the thousands of you that are watching it in the future. Thanks for stopping by. Hope this video wasn't longer than about 30 minutes, but it probably was. Well, that's it, guys. In the wintertime here in Florida, I don't do a lot of machine repair for other people. So I used to do a lot of woodworking all through the winter. This year, of course, I'll be doing machines all year round because that's what the channel's for. And there's still plenty of solar to do in the winter in Florida. So things aren't going to change too much, but there are occasional woodworking projects like the dog bed that I made from pallets and things like that. So Thanks for watching. You're a legend if you're still here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's somewhere between my chin and my balls, and I'll see you soon.